Welcome, everyone. Let's dive into the intricate world of toxic relationships. We're exploring what really defines them, including those red flags like lack of support and toxic
Yep,
communication. It's a must-know topic.
absolutely. What exactly are we looking at when we say a relationship is toxic?
Well, it's think about behaviors that chip away at your emotional foundation, such as controlling actions, constant criticism, and manipulation.
Hmm,
People who feel isolated or constantly belittled are often caught in this web.
right. And that constant belittling, is that what experts refer to as a pattern of toxic communication?
Exactly. Toxic communication is often described by what Dr. Gottman calls the four horsemen: contempt, stonewalling, defensiveness, and criticism, with contempt being, the worst
Yeah.
offender. It's like a verbal poison that wears down self-worth.
What about jealousy? You mentioned that earlier. How does that factor in?
Oh, yeah. Jealousy and controlling behaviors are big red flags. The toxic partner might not only accuse you of flirting, but they also intentionally limit your social connections, which makes you feel isolated. It's one way they exert
Right.
control over both present and future interactions.
Interesting. So it's not just about the words, but also about a broader context of control. Now, there's a fine line, right? Between being just toxic and actually abusive.
Exactly. There's a crucial distinction. While toxicity involves these undermining behaviors, abuse escalates to the point of causing physical, emotional, or even financial harm.
Yes,
For instance, criticism or contempt might be toxic, but when you're threatened or physically harmed, that's abuse.
I see. So, in these abusive scenarios, it can really instill deep-seated fear and shame, right?
Precisely. Abusive relationships often entail behaviors like name calling, mockery, unwanted touch, and sometimes even coercion. Behaviors that create an ongoing state of emotional fear. It's heavy
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
And then there's the discussion on the different types of toxic partners, which I find really intriguing. Could you go over some of those?
Sure, there are several archetypes, like the deprecator belittler who constantly picks apart your actions or appearance, the guilt inducer who manipulates you into feeling responsible for their emotions, the perpetual victim who distorts reality, and of course, the narcissist who dismisses your feelings entirely. Each type
Absolutely.
undermines the relationship in their own way.
I'm curious, though. Don't these labels sometimes oversimplify complex human behavior? I mean, can someone fit neatly into just one category?
That's a great point. Many people have a mix of these traits, and it's not always black and white.
Yeah,
It's more like a spectrum where one might exhibit predominantly one behavior, while occasionally showing others.
makes sense. Now, what are some of the real consequences of these toxic dynamics on health?
Oh, the impact is significant. Physically, studies show that toxic interactions, especially those laced with contempt, can make couples more prone to illnesses. Think lowered immunity. Then, psychologically, there's heightened anxiety, depression, and even social isolation. It basically erodes your
Mm-hmm.
well being on multiple levels.
So it's not just a matter of feeling bad emotionally, but there can be tangible health effects too?
Exactly. Toxic relationships can lead to stress, diminishing not only emotional stability, but physical health as well. And social isolation compounds that as it cuts off vital support networks. It's like a downward spiral.
Right. That downward spiral sounds really dangerous, especially when someone is already vulnerable. What strategies do we have to break out of that cycle?
Setting clear boundaries is key. Boundaries are essentially guidelines that you establish to protect your mental, emotional, and physical
Yeah,
space. They help you create a safe environment even within an unhealthy relationship.
I'd love to hear more about that. What kinds of boundaries are effective?
There are various types, like setting limits on communication, emotional boundaries to safeguard your feelings, physical boundaries concerning personal space, and even financial or time boundaries.
Right.
Basically, boundaries help you retain a sense of personal control and respect in a relationship.
And these boundaries, once set, help boost self esteem too, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. They not only foster self-love and personal autonomy, but also build trust and mutual
Uh-huh.
respect. It's like constructing a safe fortress within your life.
Now, what if someone finds themselves trapped in a toxic or even abusive relationship? What's the recommended course of action?
That's critical. The advice is to seek professional counseling or support groups. Therapists trained in these dynamics can offer vital tools to either improve the relationship, provided both are willing to change, or, in more dire situations, safely exit.
Yeah,
And of course, if physical or emotional harm escalates, it's important to reach out immediately. Phone numbers like 800.7999.7233 or texting START to 88788 are provided for support.
it's reassuring to know there are resources available. But I wonder, how does one balance the decision to, try to fix things versus knowing it's time to leave?
That's the million-dollar question. It's a delicate balance, really. It's about self-reflection. If repeated patterns of manipulation and criticism occur despite efforts to change, it might be healthier to move on. Ultimately,
Yeah,
healing and growth require recognizing when enough truly is enough.
it sounds like personal growth is one of the central themes here. Healing from a toxic relationship isn't just about ending it, but also about rebuilding oneself afterward, right?
Exactly. After leaving, healing involves reconnecting with friends and family, engaging in individual therapy, and taking time to
Mm-hmm.
rebuild your self-esteem. It's about reflecting on past patterns to avoid repeating them in the future.
I like that perspective. It shifts the focus from just survival to actual thriving and growth. But what about those who still want to try and mend the relationship? Is that ever a viable route?
Well, yes, provided that both partners are committed to change and seek professional help
Yeah,
together. Sometimes, with the right support and a willingness to implement new communication strategies, a relationship can improve. However, it's important to know that without true change, efforts might just prolong the pain.
that sounds like a really challenging yet hopeful road to recovery. So, how are institutions like the Gottman Institute contributing to this conversation?
Institutions like Gottman offer research-based tools to help couples navigate these dynamics. They provide assessments, digital programs, and workshops that target, the root causes of toxicity, using techniques that help couples address issues before they spiral out of control. They really
Right.
empower individuals to understand the art and science of maintaining a healthy relationship.
It's interesting how they use scientific methods to break down such a complex and emotional topic. But do you think there's any risk in overformulating relationships into data points and methods?
I do get the concern. Sometimes reducing something as nuanced as human relationships to models can miss some emotional
Yeah,
subtleties. But when used correctly, these tools provide a framework that can highlight problematic behaviors and give couples concrete steps toward improvement.
that makes sense, though I still think the human element is crucial. After all, every relationship is unique, right?
Absolutely, every relationship is like, its own story with different chapters of challenges and joys.
Right.
The science gives us guidelines, but the heart of the matter, understanding, empathy, and our personal experiences remains irreplaceable.
So, in summary, identifying toxic relationships involves recognizing key warning signs like lack of support, poor communication patterns, jealousy, and controlling behavior. And once those signs are recognized, setting boundaries and getting help, either to mend things or safely leave, is essential.
Exactly. It's about self-reflection, establishing healthy boundaries, and, if needed, seeking
Yep,
professional guidance, both to protect yourself and, ideally, to foster an environment where both partners can heal and grow.
and I love that empowering message. It's not just about identifying toxicity, but about taking tangible steps towards personal well being and healthier future relationships.
Right. It's like taking the control back and saying, "This is what I deserve." It's a journey
Yeah,
that's both brave and necessary.
thanks for such an insightful discussion. It really sheds light on the complexities of relationships and the importance of boundaries and support.
Absolutely. Thanks for being a part of the conversation. Remember, regardless of where you are in your relationship journey, You deserve respect
Right.
and care. Until next time, take care of yourselves.